Guys, welcome. What's good? Welcome back to my channel. If you're watching for the very first time, my name is Stacia and I go by Namaste on Instagram. And today we're going to have a discussion that involves my special guest, who is Christopher, who has been on my channel before. So if you are seeing him for the very first time and if you're new here, it means that you need to do two things. Go back on my channel to watch the videos that he has been in, usually very funny and interesting. And it means that you need to also hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video, period. Anyways, today we're going to be discussing something that I think needs to be discussed. I haven't seen a lot of discussion, or maybe there are a lot of discussions about it, but I wanted to have the discussion on my channel, and we're going to be talking about waiting during dating. How long is too long, and how long should you wait, and is the wait actually sexy? For those who don't know, Steve Harvey came out with a book several years ago. I think I was in high school when it came out, but I did read it. And in that book, that also became a movie, Think Like a Man, he spoke about the 30-day rule. And I don't know if he was the one who coined it, but I know that he helped popularize the whole theory of
30 or 90?
90. Gome nasai, gome. I know that he's the one who popularized the idea of women waiting 90 days after dating a man to give up the knickknacks to have sex. So, so we're going to be discussing whether or not the wait is worth it and is it actually sexy. And I have him here because I wanted to have a male perspective and didn't want to just come on here talking and not have a balanced discussion about the topic. So let's get into that.
All right, my first question is, why did he suggest that?
I guess listen, I've read the book so many years ago and I've only read it maybe once or twice. But off the top of my head,
I can assume, but
off the top of my head, I think it's 90 days to one, see if he will show all of himself or enough of himself for you to determine whether or not this is someone I want to make that commitment, that physical and emotional commitment to. It's a bunch of other things that he spoke about, but one of the big things was the 90-day rule, waiting for 90 days before you give up the cookie. So what do you think about that as a man dating?
There are a lot of thoughts about that.
I have a lot of thoughts, so well, let me hear you.
I'm not dating.
I know.
But there are a lot of thoughts about that. First of all, like the first thought as a Jamaican, a young Jamaican, like, let me just say, my experience is, first, we not date until you give up the cookie.
Right?
I'm not even want to call it cookie. Cookie or something you eat. Yeah, but we not date until, like, we not date.
That you eat.
Like, we attack, we not date. You see me? We not, yeah.
So, is that your honest opinion, though, that we're not dating unless sex is involved?
It's not really an opinion.
Is that how you feel?
It's not really how I feel. I personally think that I can, if I met a girl, we vibe or whatever. And it also, like, it all depends on, from my perspective, on what you're looking for. But I personally feel that I can go that long or longer if I'm interested in someone, before having sex.
Yeah, but I think what you said, you made a good point. For a lot of men, they're not looking for a relationship. And in my experience, there are men who will come and say that they want a relationship because they know that that's what you want to hear.
Right.
And so they'll play the part until they get what they want.
In which case, the 90-day thing makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, but then there are times when a man is willing to wait for you. They're doing their things on the side, but they're waiting on you, and even then, you give it up after the 90 days, and
then
he's
still completely disappointed. But you don't think you should be asking this question? But I figure, like, after the 90 days, like, even if he's getting sex from somewhere else, you'd actually be able to figure that out. Like,
can you though?
Woman's intuition and all of that.
I mean, Intuition, because I think there are a lot of men who are very good at playing a role. And I think human beings in general, because we all play roles in different aspects of life. And I think that also translates into the whole dating realm and putting on a facade. And I think there are men who are very good at that. There are men who you can tell they're doing things. But it also depends on how well you know this person. How much time are you spending with them during this 90 days?
Yeah, I guess what are you doing in the 90 days? You should be looking for.
And I was thinking also, is 90 days, because you can put 90 days as a timestamp, but how much time are you spending and how many other situations are you in with this other person to see their true character? Because if the 90 days consist of us always going out to eat, to sit down at the table and talk, how much of you can I figure out? You know what I mean? Are we, as opposed to me kicking it with you and your friends, and I see how you interact with them.
Yeah, so that 90 days can include a lot of things.
Yeah, so when it comes down to 90 days, because you can be with a person within a month, and you're with them in various situations, and you see how this person move and whatever, and you learn more about them in that 1 month than someone who is dating someone in 90 days and not see them that often, not have them in different situations where you see them, how they respond to certain things, how they treat other people, as opposed to being with you alone all the time. And so he treats you this way and he tells you all of this, but is he showing, or does he have these characteristics towards other people when it comes down to being respectful, caring, considerate of other people's feelings and stuff like that?
Yeah, because if we're talking about dating in the sense of like going out, then those are usually just that's just a sham, that's just a facade.
Exactly.
Like you're on your best behavior.
Everybody, man and woman.
Yeah, both are only. You actually create a setting where you can be at your best, your best dressed. You put on your best behavior. You borrow your friend car. Yeah. So yeah.
when you think about 90 days, I think just putting blank 90 days, I don't think that is enough. Because I mean, like I said, you can put 90 days and still not get enough time to learn about this person. And you can spend a week or a month with a person and find out more.
Yeah, by doing and interacting with them in different situations. Yeah. But can we go back a little bit?
Sure.
It's not just all about what the guy wants or why he is pursuing the woman, if in fact he is pursuing her, but what the woman wants. So the assumptions in the 90-day rule, I think would be that the woman wants or is looking for a serious relationship. So yeah, it depends on what you want. If you know, say,
you're just there for someone to give you service. Is that what you mean?
That was the other video where customer service we got back.
No. You know what I mean? Because there are women who are just looking for sex. There are those women who just want someone to make them feel good sexually, and they're not necessarily pursuing a relationship. I mean, in that case, this 90-day rule clearly wouldn't apply to you. But we're talking about those women who are actively pursuing a serious and a committed relationship, and that will ultimately lead to marriage. And is the 90-day rule something that people should be a stickler for? And for me, it's a no, because like I said, it's contingent on how much time we're spending and how well do I feel I know you. And there are instances, and I'm not suggesting to anyone that you should. I'm not. I mean, I'm not dating right now, so relax. I'm not suggesting that women should go out and flaunt their body and go on a whole rampage of one night stands. But there are a lot of instances where that one night stand was supposed to be a one night stand, and it ended up into a relationship and ended up into a marriage. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen being an example.
Really?
Yeah, they actually hooked up for a one night stand, and that ended in a whole marriage and 2 kids.
And about 3 albums.
Right?
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I have a personal friend who his wife was supposed to be a one night stand. And it ended up being
First
a whole marriage.
Count.
So I'm not suggesting, like I said, that you go out and have a bunch of one night stands. If that's what you want to do, then by all means, sister, do you. But I'm saying don't be so rigid when it comes on to the 90-day rule. Take the time to know the person, and if you feel, irrespective of time, that this person is someone you're comfortable with and you know enough about them and you've assessed everything that you've gone through and your intuition tells you that this is someone with whom you can make that next step with.
I like we did intuition, because intuition usually means I went through his phone.
But let's put things into perspective. Are you taking the 90 days to look at his character, what he says versus what he does, all the red flags? Are you taking into account all of that within the 90 days? Or are you on this everlasting cloud in the heavens with butterflies in your belly and you just can't see anything? You know what I mean? Because there are some women who get so swept up into everything that there are the signs that are there, and even in 90 days you can't see it. Because you're so caught up in the romance of it all that you don't see it. And then there are those women who are usually seasoned daters who know what they want, who can just say, all right, I've seen this before. He's trying to do this or he's trying to do that. This is what I'm going to work with. I'm not going to work with this, so I'm going to take the exit.
Yeah, I think probably it was, because I did watch the movie, it's probably for women who felt like they were being tricked into like having sex, and then it went nowhere after that. So if you feel like that's the kind of situation, then I guess this would apply.
Yeah. And I just think as women, like, just don't be, I think some people get so fixated on it hasn't been 90 days. It hasn't been, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you don't assess everything else. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not one who's going to say, I meet somebody, oh, we met on the 21st. And you're dating, you started dating on the 30th. And he won't get any sex until X, Y, and Z time.
So wait till in a month like pay.
So for me, it's more of, is this person, have I seen enough of him to make a decision on whether or not this is someone I want to be, not just sexually involved with, but
because I was gonna ask,
emotionally involved with as well, because
sex
is a part of a relationship, but it isn't the total thing.
Yeah, but what if, because there are lots of people who sex is like very, 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 and it, regardless of who you are, probably, if you're gonna
sex is important.
It's gonna be.
No one is saying that. We're saying bring your A game.
Issues.
We're saying that, but I'm saying you're not having sex all the time. And
so always 3 months, you don't know if, just like when they get married, you don't know if the things work.
I mean,
no,
but that's what I'm saying is, yes, sex is important, and it's important because you want to know if the parts function. Sure, you want to know. You want to know if you're sexually compatible and what we need to adjust in order to please each other. Sure, but there are relationships where people just stick around for the sex and it's completely toxic. So I'm saying don't be so fixated on whether or not we're having sex, but are we actually building or actually creating an environment where both of us as independent people can become interdependent on each other and have an actual relationship that is not just hinged on how well the sex or how good the sex is, because sex is a part of it. We're not having sex all the time. Sex is depending on who you are. A 2 or 3, 4 round kind of thing. You know what I mean? But my point is, while you're waiting on the sex to happen, but not even wait. I would say you're building up to that point. That's what I would say. What do you think?
You say building up to?
Building up to, because it's almost as if, okay, all right, he's charming, sure. He has a great personality. He makes me laugh. He's very kind. All of these things are building up to, maybe I should drop some coochie off. Like that.
You think you could What? Okay.
But does that make sense?
I don't know, because I don't know if you're building. This probably applies to women who you probably met somebody that you want to already, you already know that you want to do that.
Yeah, see where you're going.
Yeah, but if you're building up to it, if you're like, oh, this is good, and you're building to make it sexy or whatever,
It's not just
then
building
you're
to make
probably
it
not
sexy.
gonna make it in the 90
It's
days.
more like you see all of these good traits, and you are trying to see if he's just putting on a show. So it's like, okay, so he says he's so and so. He says he has a job, and he actually has a job. He says he's, and you see all of these things that.
That's a good. Just treat it like you open a bank account in Jamaica.
Like all of these prerequisites. It's building up to you actually acquiring a bank account at the branch that you're trying to open the bank account at. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay. So it's checking off the boxes.
It's checking off the boxes.
Gotcha. But alright, so I want to take it like a few different ways.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah, should men wait 90 days?
Why not?
Yeah, maybe she's just too thirsty. Maybe.
Yeah, and you have those women who are super thirsty.
She tick some boxes, but I don't know. But I think men do that. I don't know where I was going with that. Men not gonna think about that.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And I think men also don't think about that too, because there are different expectations for each gender. For example,
I mean, it depends on the point in your life where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
What you're looking for.
Yeah,
So
I think in general, why we are more pressed to, as women, to have such a rule in place, it's partly, and I'm going off based on my opinion and my perspective. It's partly because as women, we are more strictly judged about our sexual history.
yeah, that plays a part.
I'm not saying that's the whole thing, but I'm saying that plays a part in it, because in the back of our head, no matter how liberated many of us think we are, there's always the idea that we have to lie about the amount of men that we've had sex with, because we don't want to be judged and we don't want to be measured based off our sexual history. And men have the luxury of living a life where they're not really judged or scrutinized, because for the most part, a man can be a hoe and still be husband material. Whereas when a woman does what he does by having the same amount of sexual partners, people are like, there's this apprehension and reluctance to claim her, to wife her, because she's been around the block few times. But you've been around the block few times and you're still qualified to be a husband. But her candidacy for wifey is in disrepute. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, we know that. That's
but that's not. I don't know. I can't think of anything else. I'm not a psychologist, and I can only give the perspective based on my own experience, and my experience is limited. But I think that's part of it. What do you think? There's another part of it.
There's plenty other parts. I just wanted to go back a little bit and say, like, when I had mentioned that, like, there until you have sex. Right. That's
I remember
when you're
there are
young.
non-Jamaicans watching. There means we're not together.
Yeah,
we're not official.
Yeah, you're not dating. Because, like, when you're young, first of all, you're probably just like, you can't take nobody out. You don't have the money. Like, there's not much you can do. You're probably gonna link up, like, after school. Or assuming you're in university, or your first job or whatever, and you're doing things with each other, but you're not dating. Maybe some people are now. Lots of people are much better off, if you're investing in male pack and these things. Big up you. But from when I was younger in Jamaica, that wasn't something that didn't really have a lot of that. I couldn't really afford to I couldn't afford to date someone. Like, I really like you, let me take you out, It wasn't like that. We like each other, let's hang out, see what we're about, and more than likely we're attracted to each other, so we would probably end up having sex, because there ain't shit else to do. So a lot of people won't be caught in that situation. They're, much further along in their lives, them have them shit together. They are looking for a partner, and that person is also looking for a certain kind of person, someone who can, bring certain kind of value into their lives. And so that's when you start to date and you start to connect intellectually, start to connect emotionally, and see where each other is in life, and then the physical part becomes important because all those other things are building up your attraction for each other.
Building
So
up.
yeah, maybe in that way, yeah, it can be sexy, which is where we go next.
Yeah.
And I guess I just went there, so it's your turn. I think like one more thing I would say about this. So in terms of it being sexy,
Is it sexy?
it's sexy.
It can be sexy.
Yeah, it's sexy if you're
If
doing
it's
it the right
done
way
right.
and you're
I was about to
connecting.
say that.
Yeah,
I
you're
was about to say
connecting
that.
in every other way. Like you don't want to. It doesn't make sense for you to try to make it sexy in terms in like a sensual
And I think
kind
it's
of
not
way.
going to be sexy if both parties don't have the same agenda. So if
Of
one
course,
person is just looking for sex, it's going to be frustrating to you because you want to have sex.
And this person's no way.
Yeah. And it's going to be frustrating for the other person if I'm asking you to respect that boundary, or if we've agreed up. I want that to be the target, and you don't want it to be that.
Right.
And you're forcing or you're trying to make advances way before it's time. So it's going to be frustrating for both parties in that sense because you want it or I don't want it, and so it's not sexy in that sense. But if it is that we're two grown people who are looking for a life partner and we aren't going to have that commitment of getting sex involved, because sex can be a distraction for many people, and we don't talk about that, but it can be a distraction. So if we remove the distraction of sex and literally try to get to know each other by spending time with each other and being in situations where we see sides of our characters that we would not see if we just sat across from each other at a restaurant eating food, how do we work through conflicts together and stuff like that, which is a pretty big thing in relationship. And how do we communicate whilst we are in conflict with each other? And 30 days, I think, can provide you the framework or the room to figure out how you guys can navigate those tempestuous water when they arrive. And
One question for you. Do like when you know watch this video, like pick out a notebook and write down the words.
I don't use erudite words that often in my
Erudite, tempestuous.
Oh my god, that was just 2 words. Calm down.
By the way, it's 90 days. 30 days is probably not enough.
Did I say 30 days?
If she wait for 30 days, she probably just want to beg you some money. So just wait.
They don't wait 30 days to beg you money. They go the first day.
Hey, that is a good question.
Them dry
How long should she wait before begging the money? Alright, so even before Steve Harvey, I know I've met at least one person who has told me, it's an older gentleman I know who like helped mentor me and stuff when I was back home, who, he related how he met his wife and how he used to like go out her gate at night time, could have passed the gate, had stayed there for months, she lived with her parents or whatever, and they just talked then, and those relationships seemed to work. It's like we probably know a lot of other people who are like that.
But like I said, I feel like with a part of the reason why relationships don't work for me, in my opinion, is the fact that we're in an instant culture where everything is so instant noodles.
Well, it was one before that.
I mean,
well, we had instant noodles a long time.
Yeah, but you get where I'm going with this. But things are more instant now.
That's things true. People do need to learn this.
People are a little more instant now,
and people are a lot more liberal.
And so and so people don't. And I'm not knocking anyone who decides to have sex on the first date or anything. Like I said, it can probably work for you. Maybe that's your husband, but at the same time, I think we don't take the time to not only learn people but learn ourselves. And everything is so instant, because even with the whole learning yourself thing, I feel like we don't know who we are, and so we don't know what we need, and because we don't know what we need, we can't communicate what we want actually, and so the other person is incapable of providing what we need. But that's a whole other topic.
I mean, this can go into a lot of different areas.
But the point I'm making is, I guess part of the whole 90-day rule is, in fact, am I patient enough to wait?
Both parties.
Am I patient enough to wait, to learn more about not only the person in these 90 days, but myself as well in these 90 days, to see whether or not this is worth taking to the next level. So maybe the 90-day rule isn't so bad after all.
Yeah, it can be sexy.
It can be sexy after all. The initial stages, I was like, fuck a 90-day rule. Now that we're talking about it, it can be sexy. It can. Why not? If you both want the same things, then it can be sexy. For me, it's not a hard or fast rule.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, nothing really is hard and fast for me. Things are continuously changing. Like, I'm in my mind, it occurs to me like, are these kinds of relationships still like sustainable? Well,
but it would be
I don't even want to look at the US to say
but it would be unfair to ask that question, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes people put in the work within the first 90 days, and then after we're in a relationship, and this happens quite often in relationships, people settle and they don't. The effort and the energy that was once put into proving that I'm worthy of your time and your energy, and trying to make you happy and you trying to make me happy. Over time, I feel like the energy, the effort kind of dwindles down.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that sense, I don't know if I would blame the 90-day rule per se.
No, I'm not saying I'd blame the 90-day rule. I'm just saying the 90-day rule is made towards getting to a place where you're in a lifelong relationship. I'm asking if that is still something that people, especially younger people than us, want. Is that something that the society that we're now in, like, does it serve?
I think
if people change in their jobs, like their careers, like 7 times throughout their lifetime, is that really something that people still want? I'm sure a lot of people do. But
I think people do. I think ultimately, irrespective of even people like me who say, I don't want anybody, ultimately we are creatures who want.
We're relational creatures.
Yeah.
Well, this conversation was stretched wide. It's probably because of our dear friend Rose here. But yeah, I'm sure we hope you are entertained.
Yeah.
We hope you were provoked, at least thought-wise. I'm sure she wants you to share your thoughts in the comments.
I was just about to say that. Well, go ahead, go off.
Yeah. Share your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, is the wait actually sexy?
Yeah, is the wait. Have you ever made the wait sexy? Have you ever waited that long? We'd love to hear from you. She'll share the comments with me, and I'll see.
You're going to watch it.
Yeah. I love to see myself on camera. So that's the video, guys. So she goes by the name of Namaste on Instagram. Please go follow her. If you like the video, go ahead and click the like button, make a comment, and share with somebody who you think would be interested. And click the notification bell.
Subscribe first.
Not that one. Yeah, subscribe, click the notification bell, and see you in the next video. Peace.
Bye.